Pastor Roy Gerhardt from Galloway United Methodist Church in Franklin, Pennsylvania, sharing a few words of encouragement to help us follow after Jesus. Well, it's Wednesday, and our word for Wednesday is fruitfulness. In Matthew 21, we see Jesus approach a fig tree and looking for something to eat, finds nothing. And he says, may you never bear fruit. And the tree actually shrivels up and dies very quickly. Well, the disciples are shocked and amazed by this. And Jesus tells them, don't be caught up in what I just did. It's not about this tree. It's about fruitfulness. That's really what it's about. And what Jesus tells them is this. He said, you don't need to be impressed by what just happened. You have the ability in faith to say to a mountain, be thrown into the sea, and it will be thrown into the sea. Jesus wants them to understand that they have the power in faith to bear great fruit. Now, I've always found this parable or this event hard to understand, and this explanation really hard to put together with everything else that's going on until just recently. When Jesus came into the city of Jerusalem in Matthew 21, he's met with a great celebration, a really excited fanfare. But you know what? This reminds me of the way in which many people come to church and they sing and they rejoice and they seem like they're so into God. But then when they leave, they go on and live the rest of their week without any reference to God at all. It's as if God doesn't even exist throughout most of their life. They don't lean on God, they don't depend on God, and they don't follow God's instruction. They do things their own way, on their own, without Him. That's what happens here. There are lots of people who celebrate Jesus and then go on with their lives. And there are others who meet Jesus in a way that, well, it's going to lead to His crucifixion. When Jesus came into the city, He went to the temple, and He found there in the temple courts a marketplace set up. Now this has got to be something that the religious leaders are proud of. They've got to think, we have done a wonderful thing. We've set up this great system, because there are crowds of people coming to Jerusalem, to the temple, to celebrate Passover. And so with all of that happening, they have set up a system that will make it work. There are bankers there, there are livestock dealers, there are all of these things to make it a convenient one-stop shopping place where you can get in, get your sacrifice taken care of, and get on your way. Thank you for coming. See you again next year. You know, they have got to imagine this is absolutely a phenomenal setup. And no doubt the temple makes some profit off of it as well. But when Jesus comes in, He begins to flip tables over, chase people out. He says, this is terrible. You've taken my Father's house that's to be a house of prayer and turned it into a den of thieves and robbers. You see, even though they had a wonderful system operating, it did not lead to the goal that God had for them. And it was a very smooth operating system to get people in and out on their sacrifices, but it was not focusing people on seeking after God. And He said, if you don't meet that objective, you are fruitless in your efforts. And so He condemned their actions. He went on to engage these religious leaders, telling them a couple of parables. And the one parable is about some renters who rent a vineyard. But when it comes time to pay the rent, they refuse. And they attack everyone that the owner sends to collect the rent, including his son, whom they kill. And Jesus makes this very pointed at those religious leaders. He even tells them, just like the owner is going to take this vineyard from the hands of those who have improperly used it and refused to bring him his payment, he says to these religious leaders, the kingdom is going to be taken out of your hands and given to someone who will produce its fruit. And so the people that he's talking about are people who have lived their lives wrecked and ruined in sin, but have come to God in repentance. They have borne that first step of fruitfulness in turning their lives over to God, seeking His forgiveness and newness of life, and putting their life in God's hands. They are now ready to lead others to put their trust in God and to find that faith and hope in Him. Jesus said, you guys have set up a system that's not leading there, but those who are seeking the Lord, turning their lives over to Him, and leading others then in due course to come as well. They're bearing the right fruit. And this is what He was trying to bring to His disciples, a recognition that with faith in Him, they have the power to move mountains, to change lives, to bear great fruit. So may you bear that fruit, and may God bless you. As you share His good news, may God make you a blessing wherever He takes you.